Good morning. And welcome to Unity Orlando. We have a new opening statement this morning. It is not I, but it is the Spirit within that does the work through me. Let's all affirm that together. It is not I, but the Spirit within that does the work through me. All right, let's all close our eyes, take a nice deep breath in, and let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. And if you'd like to join us, please stand and we'll sing our joy song this morning. It is Glory of Love. Of joy, I'm abundance of joy, I'm abundance of joy, I'm abundance of joy, I'm abundance of, I'm abundance of, I'm abundance of joy, I'm abundance of, I'm abundance of, I'm abundance of joy. Shine on the glory of God. Shine on the glory, shine on the glory of God. I'm a purpose of peace. I'm the 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 purpose of, I'm the purpose of, I'm the purpose of peace. I'm the purpose of, I'm the purpose of, I'm the purpose of peace. Shine on the glory of God. Shine on the glory, shine on the glory, shine on the glory of God. Shine on the glory, shine on the glory of God.
Wow, good morning. Good morning, Unity Orlando. How is everybody today? Good, good. I'm Susan Francis. I'm your platform speaker today. I see we don't have visitors. We have all family here, so welcome. I'm glad you're here with us this morning, and welcome online to everyone who's watching. Just a few messages or announcements. The food drive continues. You can continue to bring your non-perishable food items for the drive either on Sunday morning or Tuesday from 10 to 3 o'clock. Or you can contact Curtis Coaxum for a pickup or if you need food. please let him know. His number is on our website. Also, Reverend Ronnie Kenny and Paul Kenny's Course in Miracles class, which is on Zoom, is continuing every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you're interested in attending, they need your email so that they can send you the link. So Ronnie's information is on the bulletin, but also on the website. And then there is the Unity Men's Group that meets every Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. outside of Starbucks at Howell Branch and 436 in Winter Park. All men are welcome. And if you need information, you can contact Mark, and his information is on the website too. Let's see, I have Reverend Bob's lesson today is the Judgement Quandary. That is a quandary, thinking about that. But before I introduce Brian and the band again for another song, I have a little story to tell you because we haven't heard any of these stories lately. So one day, Joe, Bob, and Dave were hiking in a wilderness area when they came upon a large, raging, violent river. They needed to get to the other side, but they had no idea how to do so. So Joe prayed to God, saying, "Please, God, give me the strength to cross the river." Poof! God gave him big arms and strong legs, and he was able to swim across the river in about 2 hours, although he almost drowned a couple of times. Seeing this, Dave prayed to God, saying, "Please, God, give me the strength and the tools to cross the river." So poof, God gave him a rowboat, and he was able to row across the river in about an hour after almost capsizing the boat a couple of times. Then there was Bob, and Bob, not Reverend Bob, but a different Bob. Bob had seen how this all worked out for the other two, so he also prayed to God, saying, "Please, God, give me the strength and the tools and the intelligence to cross the river." So poof, God turned him into a woman. She looked at the map, hiked upstream a couple of 100 yards, and then walked across the bridge. Anyway, without further ado, back over to the music department, Brian.
That's great. Never question the power of a woman, right? Thank you, Susan. And I probably say this a lot, but here's another one of my favorite songs. It's called Compass Readings. Here I am, I've arrived at the crossroads, a new choice at the fork in the road. Give me strength, give my soul direction, a new direction that my life can flow. Which way is right, dear Lord, I'll leave it up to you. I started out with the right intention. Whichever path your light will light my way. The needle of your compass spins around in a circle. The needle through the glass stops where I shall pass. Through the glory, through the joy that will last, through the memories, through the good times in my past, through the energy that makes life go by so fast. Light my way on my path like your true light only can. Give me joy, give my soul direction. One that loves me, one that meets my needs. And tell me all your secrets of your laws in my dreams. And tell me right before I sleep, your love washes me in streams. Through the glory, through the joy that will last, through the memories, through the good times in my past, through the energy that makes life go by so fast. Light my way on my path like your true light only can. Through the glory, through the joy that will last, through the memories, through the good times in my past, through the energy that makes life go by so fast. Light my way on my path like your true light only can. Light my way on my path like your God light only can. Light my way on my path like your Christ light only can.
I've been told I can't say a word until I take the mask off. Otherwise, all you hear is... Yes, I'm back in a mask. I'm going to take off in a moment on the Judgement Quandary, but I want to talk about another quandary right now before we open. Florida's famous, right? We are the new epicenter. I know you're tired of hearing about the pandemic, so am I. But tired of it or not, we set a new record in the last couple of days for the most cases of COVID in the entire pandemic. And because everyone's so tired of it, this is not making as big a news as it probably should. But the bottom line is, I figure to have worn a mask back during what we thought was the high and not wear it now is probably totally inconsistent. So I'm going to be wearing it into the pulpit and out of the pulpit. And I'm going to ask all of you to be very, very careful with your lives. This new Delta variant has changed everything. I don't know, it's some phenomenal amount more contagious than the original version. So let's just talk about the articles I've been reading for a moment. Yes, we've had more cases than were ever reported before during the entire pandemic. No, being fully vaccinated does not keep you from getting sick. It does keep you from going to the hospital. And death is almost non-existent. It's such a small thing if you're fully vaccinated. But we used to think that if you were fully vaccinated, you were safe. Not only were you safe, but the people around you were safe. And now they're discovering that fully vaccinated, you may get the disease, but carry it at such a light level that you don't think that much about it. But you carry as high a viral load as those who were not vaccinated and therefore can infect others around you. Now, what that means is those who are vaccinated are likely to get sick but not go to the hospital. Those who are not vaccinated, I am going to ask any of you who are not vaccinated to be extremely careful right now. We care about you. And we thought being vaccinated protected you. It evidently does not. We have a couple of very good friends whose son came to visit while feeling ill. And the wife is now in the hospital with COVID, and the husband is at home with COVID. This is hitting. So, I am not trying to be alarmist, but I am asking you to be very careful because you are all important to me. I know you may be saying, oh, we haven't seen Patty lately. You won't until this passes. It's the better part of wisdom in her case that she not be here at this time, my wife. Okay. I am really happy to see you who came out in person, and we're going to be as careful as we can and talk about social distancing. We got no problems with that. We need you at home to hang in there and be with us. It's going to have to go on for a little while yet. Florida's the epicenter. Florida is 20% of all the cases in the 50 states. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that figure. All I know is we need to be extremely careful, and we will get through this. Now, if you get COVID, the odds are still good that you won't go in the hospital and you won't die, okay, even if you're not vaccinated. But your odds of having difficult things are considerably higher than those who have been vaccinated. In fact, we are a danger to you. So just be very, very careful. Okay. Enough of that. Let's talk about, did I beat that into the ground, or are we okay? We're okay. Okay. I'm giving no edicts. I'm just asking everyone to be very, very careful. Okay? The judgment quandary. You say, what is the judgment quandary? Well, the judgment quandary is that Jesus said, do not judge. But judgment, on the other hand, is necessary to getting through our day. It's something we use thousands of times a day. And quite frankly, in the 12 powers, judgment is one of our spiritual abilities, one of our spiritual powers. So the quandary is, how do you handle judgment? In Matthew 7:1, Jesus says, judge not, that you may not be judged. Now, I've got a cynical aside, because it's my belief that in practice, Christianity has become one of the most judgmental groups in the world. And as such, we've strayed far away from Jesus' teaching. Much of Jesus' teaching was about tolerance of your neighbor, right? Friend or foe. On the other hand, we got to judge whether someone can be trusted, whether this can happen, whether I should do this or not do that. Judgment is a part of our daily activity. It's our daily decision making. So, when Jesus says, judge not that you may not be judged, I'm going to suggest he's talking about the end of judgment that we call laying blame or condemning. Now, I believe he made it a little clearer in John, excuse me. No, I do not have COVID. I am shedding all the stuff off my property, which means I am working in an amazing amount of dust. Okay, here we go. I believe Jesus made it much clearer in John 7:24. do not judge by appearances. Ooh, that makes a lot more sense. Of course, if you read the Lamsa version, he replaces that word appearances, and he says, do not judge by partiality. And then the rest of it is, but judge righteous judgment. So on one end, he says, don't judge, but he says, judge righteous judgment. So he's actually differentiating between two types of judgment. Do not judge by appearances. I like both words, appearances and partiality, because they give a slightly different perspective of the same thing. Do not judge by appearances. That's acknowledging that we personally don't have all the facts, never could. God does, we don't. We see what is obviously true, and in some cases it isn't. So don't judge by appearances. Well, what about don't judge by partiality? You know, I looked that one up just to make sure that I understood exactly what they meant when that word was used. And what partiality means is, here's the definition, an unfair bias in favor of one thing or person compared with another, or a particular liking or fondness for something. Wow. Don't judge by what you're emotionally attached to. Don't judge by your biases that say, I really don't want to do this, so I'm going to judge this bad. You know, don't judge in that way. Don't use bias, or do not judge in a way in which you already favor one thing. So what is this righteous judgment thing that Jesus referred to? It's judging as God would judge. Say, oh, well, what's that mean? Let's get it straight. God always judges by the good of the whole. Remember, righteous, I said you could, maybe we understand it better if we replace it with goodness. God always judges by what will create the greatest goodness for the whole. So what we're seeing here in this quandary of judgment is the dichotomy between personal judgment, which is biased and condemning, versus righteous judgment, which expresses an insight into what is good for the whole, judging what is good for the whole. So the key to righteous judgment is simply it serves the good of the whole. There you go. The key to righteous judgment is it serves the good of the whole. Not self. Righteous judgment does not serve self alone. Righteous judgment does not serve the Christian world alone. I mean, how many Christians do you know who say, well, I don't have to be nice to them. They're not in my church. They're not in my sect. They don't matter. That's not righteous judgment. And righteous judgment does not serve personal desire. It serves goodness, always. Universal goodness. How do you get there? You got to remove emotion. You got to step back and make your decision while looking down the road towards the highest good of the whole. I'm going to say very clearly, righteous judgment is not militantly enforcing your religious beliefs with others. That is so far from righteous judgment, it's ridiculous. almost 50 years ago when I was the associate minister in Unity of Miami. The bookstore lady came to me and said, you know, a very good friend of mine came to this church for a number of months, and she loved it. She loved our teaching until she figured out that we said heaven and hell are states of mind, not a place you go. And she came up and said, I can't come here anymore. I try to be good. And I got to know that if I'm trying to be good, the rest of them are going to hell. That is not righteous judgment. It's not even close. So, righteous judgment means judge like your Father in heaven, who loves everyone. And in Matthew 5:45, causes his sun to shine upon the good and the bad, and who pours down his rain upon the just and the unjust. Can you judge from that perspective? Everyone is equal. Everyone deserves love, no matter how badly they're misbehaving. They're beloved of God just as everyone else. The spiritual power of judgment also has a couple of other words attached to it in the chapter that deals with it. One is discrimination, and the other is wisdom. Let's talk about wisdom first. Wisdom is an action that serves the highest good. An action that serves the highest good. It's being able to see what is really best for all in this situation and serving that. Discrimination, on the other hand, well, that's a word we've done a lot of negative connotations with it, but it's a very positive word if you just look at it without what we've attached it to recently. When we say a person is very discriminating, we mean they only settle for the best. Discrimination is the ability to discriminate between good and evil. We can see this is goodness, this isn't so good. It's the ability to discriminate. Yeah, okay. I'm lacking in a few abilities here. Anyway, the ability to discriminate between the best and that which is good but less good than best. But I got to tell you, judgment or discrimination in the higher realms, in the higher lessons, the more advanced lessons, let's put it that way, is almost always being able to see the lesser of two evils when you have two choices and you don't like either of them. And being able to see which will do the least damage. Choosing between good and evil, that's kid stuff. That's kindergarten. Most of us can do that. The hard stuff is when you have two choices in life and you don't like either one of them. And you've got to choose which is the higher path. They're both pretty low. So, how do we use wisdom in our lives? Number one, always judge righteous judgment. Make your decisions from the vantage point of what is for the good of the whole. What is for the good of the whole? That means for each and every one of our decisions, we step away from personal desire just to make the decision. You're allowed to have personal desire, but when you make your decision, you need to do it as God would, righteous judgment. Step away from personal desire, step away from the personal point of view, step away from emotional attachment, and step away from fear related to any of your choices. What is for the highest good? Affirm to yourself, I serve the good of the whole. We came here to serve the good of the whole. Ask, what is best for all in this situation? Sometimes I've done what didn't give me exactly what I wanted because I realized there were people who trusted me, and in this situation, I needed to decide what was best for everyone. So what is best for all in this situation? What is truly wise? Then look down the road and ask, does this create true goodness? Or does it simply serve a temporary emotional need? Because that ain't wisdom. But if it serves true goodness, it is. Now, it's important to understand when we talk about, I am here to serve the good of the whole. You are a part of the whole. Your success is your first responsibility to the goodness of the whole. You're responsible for your life. Making it miserable does not make the whole better. So, always sacrificing yourself for others is not for the good of the whole. You will sacrifice yourself for others many times. But taking that as your general approach is not for the good of the whole. You're leaving somebody out. Yourself. And quite frankly, I'll say this over and over, the world is made up of nurturers and takers. And if a nurturer gives too much and damages themselves, the world takes a great loss. We need you as a nurturer to take care of yourself also, so you can go out and nurture more. To totally impoverish yourself on behalf of your children, to totally impoverish yourself on behalf of your parents or your friends, makes the whole worse off. It's not generally wise. There are instances in which it works, and instances in which it is the wise choice. But in general, total sacrifice is leaving someone out. There's got to be a balance. So realize there's a time to succeed and a time to allow others to succeed. Win when it serves the highest good, and choose to step back and let someone else win when it serves the highest good. To do that, you've got to step back from personal emotion and step into divine wisdom as you look at the situation you are judging. Don't get me wrong. You're here to serve. I came here to serve. I know that with certainty. But you also came here to demonstrate a good and fulfilling life, and that is part of the way that you serve. So we have to create a balance for the goodness of the whole. So number one was always judge righteous judgment. Number two, your spiritual power of judgment is best used on yourself. That's exceedingly important. Whenever facing anything, particularly something that didn't go quite like we'd hoped or turned out poorly, always ask yourself, how could I have handled things better? What will I do differently next time? What can I learn from this? Use wisdom to judge what could be improved in the way you handle yourself, and do it without self-condemnation. That's sort of, you go into self-condemnation, you defeated every good thing you were accomplishing by looking at yourself. No. You just look at it and judge, next time, I won't make that mistake. That's how people get through these electronic games, right? Or whatever we call them, video games. There we go. My God, am I ancient. You know, they take a look and see why they died, so they come back and they don't die next time. You know, they learn from each trip. We learn from each experience. Try to see yourself clearly so you can improve and expand. I've often said, if you really could see yourself clearly, you'd be absolutely devastated. I know those moments when I thought I saw myself clearly, I was like, oh my God. And so Spirit kind of just lets us see a little bit at a time. But if you reach out and try to see yourself clearly, you will be able to, and then you'll see how you can improve and become that much better a person. Now, I've talked about looking at our flaws, the areas where we're falling short. But you use judgment on yourself in not just to see the things you need to improve, but you need to judge the things you're doing well. You need to give yourself self-praise. Acknowledge when you make an improvement, not say, well, I've only done this and I've got so far. Yeah, you know you got so far to go, but praise yourself for what you have done and you have done well. Why? So you're not dependent upon others for validation. You need to know that I did good. That's between God and me, and I don't really need anyone else in order for me to accept that. Judge your goodness as well as what you need to improve. Which leads us to number 3. Do not condemn or blame. Remember, this is judge not, lest ye be judged. Blame and condemnation, which, by the way, are national pastimes right now. Blame and condemnation are games your personal self plays to avoid taking responsibility for its own life. It's not my fault, it's theirs. How can you expect me to do well when faced with this? And so is doing it wrong, which makes me feel better and superior. Well, all of that is to avoid saying, this is my life. If I want it to change, I have to change it. I don't care what the people around me are doing. It's still my life. It's my ship. I'm sailing it. Blame and condemnation are destructive. They're amazingly destructive energies, and they attract to you more destruction. I mean, last week, didn't we say it's the law and the prophets? You get what you're radiating. And if you radiate blame and condemnation, don't be surprised when your life gets more and more complicated and goes downhill. On the other hand, I said it's a national pastime. We all do it to some extent, without any doubt. And if we can withdraw our energy out of blame and condemnation, we actually see our lives improve phenomenally just by withdrawing that energy out of those destructive forces. So what am I suggesting? Judge without blame. Can you do that? Can you judge without blame? Can you say, this person betrayed my trust. I do not need to condemn them for the rest of my life. I do not need to rule them out. I do not need to do anything except observe that next time I probably won't trust them. That's called wisdom. You are allowed to judge. You are not allowed to condemn. That's how you handle the situation. Use the information to choose more wisely in the future. You wrecked my car. I'm not going to judge you for it, but you ain't borrowing my next car. Yeah, that's just wisdom. Okay. Number 4. Acknowledge everyone's independence and be tolerant. This is so central to Jesus' teaching. Everyone has the personal freedom to be who they are. They don't have to be who you want them to be. They are allowed to be who they are. So let others be different from you. Let them hold different opinions. And you're even going to have to let them do what you would not do. Anyone who's raised children knows all of this. They're going to be a little different from you. It's going to get threatening when your children grow into their own opinions and they're a little different than yours. And some of them are going to do what you consider extremely foolish. But as adults, it will be their right to do it. Not as children, but as adults. I did a memorial just a short time ago, in which one of the things in the eulogy that we said about the man, it was said about him that he let people be who they were. He would say, that's none of my business. They can do what they want. That's none of my business. They can do what they want. So he said, that's right. I can do what I want. And I'm going to put a caveat on that one. A very important boundary. Your personal freedom to do what you want ends when your action robs others of their freedom or endangers others in some way. You have the right to do what you want. You do not have the right to put someone else's life in jeopardy under any conditions. And that's true throughout everything in life. You can be what you want, but you can't do it at someone else's expense. Someone else's expense. Which brings us to the very last one. And and the hardest for many of us because it often deals with people we love. Number 5 is set boundaries and use tough love. You say, oh, but we're supposed to be loving. Yeah. But Christianity does not make you a doormat, even when you maintain an open heart. You can have a boundary and not rule them out of your heart. You can say no while still loving them if you know it's for the highest good. On this subject, I always remember years ago, Ram Dass was a spiritual leader. He went to India, he studied under a guru, and his guru sent him back home. Said, you got to do the purification of fire. That's the marketplace. And when he left, Ram Dass asked, what shall I do when I go home? Now, I heard it in his own words. There were recordings that were out back then. I got to hear Ram Dass, but this particular story I heard off the recording. His guru told him, love everyone, serve everyone, and remember God. He said, I had to figure out what that meant. He says, to serve everyone. I assumed that meant I had to do what anybody asked me to do. And I finally figured out that if someone said, pick that book up for me, and I knew it was better for them to pick the book up themselves, I served them by saying, pick it up yourself. You can have an open heart and still set boundaries. Parents have to learn to do it with their adult children. And adult children have to learn to do it with their parents. It goes both ways. And with our friends, there should always be boundaries. And these are some of our biggest challenges, because these are people we love. And we've got to retreat into wisdom, unemotional wisdom, to know what is for the highest good in these situations. Do not become an enabler. An enabler is someone who loves the other person so much that they won't let them stick their hand in the fire, and they never learn not to do it. They love them so much that they rescue them before they can find their bottom. And so they never find their bottom, and they keep going on down. An enabler is someone who comes in and saves you so you don't have to learn your lesson, and essentially ensures that you will continue in this negative pattern forever. Don't be an enabler. Creating dependence does not serve the highest good. Temporary dependence must always lead to independence to be healthy. Are there times when we're going to come in and have someone be dependent on us? Oh, yes. But if that's a continuing thing, there's a real question as to the health of that. It needs to lead. Depend on me for a time until you can take over and become independent. Don't ever rob your loved ones of their independence or people you care about. Remember, you are serving their higher self, not their personal self. When the child asks to have more candy, we will often say no and feel good about it. But when an adult asks us the same thing in another form, sometimes we have a hard time. You are serving their higher self, not their personal desires. You got to look and say, pick your own book up. You need to do that. Now, you say, what about those times when someone dedicates their entire life to someone else? Okay, that happens. In rare instances, someone may choose to dedicate their life to another person. Essentially, they give up and forfeit their life for someone else. This is only healthy when the nurturer maintains this relationship with no resentment and no regret. If those enter in, they probably shouldn't be doing it. But there are those who can do it and say, the world will be better if I do this. Okay, it's only healthy when the nurturer maintains this relationship with no resentment or regret, and enough love and goodness is created by this to balance out the loss of goodness that the nurturer's life as it would have been would have rendered to the world. You can do it, but you better love it. That'll create goodness. Set healthy boundaries in all your relationships. All your relationships. Set healthy boundaries. It's not healthy for me to go beyond this point. Wisdom can show you that. Because no one's life is more valuable to God than any other. No one's life is more valuable. Well, I'm going to take care of them because they're more valuable than I am. They are not. No one's life is more valuable than anyone else's. In that sense, we are all equal. So, if I'm going to wrap it up, judge not with your personal self, but judge righteous judgment. Serve the highest good of the whole with your life. Make all your decisions from this perspective, because learning to live your life wisely is a part of soul awakening and leads to spiritual fulfillment. Your life is every decision that you make. So employ the spiritual power of wisdom in each of your decisions, and your life will become truly rich and worth living. So let's close our eyes for a moment. And let's step aside from the personal self. Take a deep breath and sigh it out. As if you were sighing out the entire personal side of your being. Let go of opinions, desires, anger and resentment, any emotion you're carrying around that is less than love. Image it all just falling away. and feel that sense of your higher self within. I am that awe-inspiring spiritual being who was before this life and will be after I leave it. I'm a child of God. And as such, I am connected to divine mind. Divine wisdom. And mine, divine mind, guides me. Guides my vision as I look out at my life. Is there to guide me in all the little decisions that I make throughout my life. Feel that connection. Then touch your sole purpose. I am here to serve the good of the whole. I am here to serve the good of the whole with my life. To serve others and to demonstrate a wonderful, loving, happy, fulfilling, rich life. See Spirit moving through you in every decision you make. Father, guide me through every step of my everyday. Father, thy will be done through every decision I make in my life. Fill me with righteous judgment. Thy will be done through every decision I make in my life. For thy wisdom always guiding me, I am truly grateful. Each of us is truly grateful. Amen. And if the usher will come forward, we'll prepare for our offering. If you're online, we still need you, now more than ever. So, at the end of service, the way you donate is you go to the home page, you hit the donate now, and you can use PayPal or a credit card. You can pull off the address and mail us a check. You can call the office and arrange for regular offerings, however you want to do it. But your offerings, they're what keeps us going. They're what makes a difference. Everyone here and everyone online. Our offering statement together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen.
Here's a song called Say a Prayer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That moves with light. I am one with eternal mind, and I say a prayer and it's alright. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. And I say a prayer and it's alright. I have this idea for a real life. It's a beacon of eternal light. All things loving and my soul shines bright. And I say a prayer and it's alright. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Say a prayer. And I say a prayer and it's alright. I have a craving for a real life. I have a body that moves with light. I am one with eternal mind, and I say a prayer and it's alright. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Say a prayer. Say a prayer. Oh, and I say a prayer and it's alright. Whoa, whoa. Say a prayer. Say a prayer. Oh, and I say a prayer and it's alright. And I say a prayer and it's alright. And I say a prayer and it's alright. 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 Alright.
That was great. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Be safe. And don't be afraid. Even if you're not vaccinated, the odds are still in the favor of you not dying. Okay? You still got great odds. We just find each one of you very valuable to us. So don't take too many chances with your life. Okay, next Sunday. I need to be careful how I pick these titles. I will be speaking on embracing change. And at the time I chose this, I had no idea how poignant this would be at this point in my life. I'll tell you about it next week. Let's all rise and radiate into the world the prayer of protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful